Colonel Jeremy Bartell assumed command of the U.S. Army Garrison Kwaj Atoll July 9th, marking the end of Colonel James Dior's tenure as the garrison's commanding officer. Gathered were foreign ambassadors, the RMI acting president, traditional Marshallese leaders, friends, colleagues, and leaders representing the military commands that worked with Dior during the past 2 years. U.S. Ambassador to the RMI, Karen Stewart, enumerated the stresses that can arise in a truly unique command.
Uniquely, I think, as far as I can think of in my 40 years in the government and working with the U.S. military, the colonel in charge of the garrison in Kwajalein has to report or be responsible or carry out duties for 3 different military commands and an American ambassador. So I think anyone who can keep all of that straight and keep all 4 of us happy has clearly done a marvelous job. On top of that, Colonel Dior and Deb have a warm personal relation with the Marshallese. I have observed it every time I come to visit. Again, yesterday on Third Island, where we were opening a school and a clinic, and saw a farewell that showed just how much Deb and Colonel Dior have personally connected with the Marshallese here.
She was one of 6 speakers, including Dior and Bartell, who took to the podium to mark the occasion.
2 years ago, 24 months seemed like so much time. I suppose that it actually is, but today I couldn't possibly tell you where all that time went. Jeremy and Reagan, Debbie and I are so pleased to pass the baton along to you. You're both such wonderful people. You are exactly the exceptional team that this organization needs. Having come to know you both, we gladly, without hesitation, hand the reins over to you and look forward to seeing all the greatness that comes from your command. We are your staunchest supporters. Thank you to everyone who came here today. May God bless you. Kwajalein 6 signing off.
Dr. Christine Altendorf, the Regional Director of MCOM Pacific, welcomed the new garrison commander to the MCOM Pacific team and pointed to Dior as an exemplary leader who helped guide USACA through rough seas during his tenure on Kwajalein.
I'm also honored and extremely happy to welcome Colonel Jeremy Bartell, his wife Reagan, and their children Jarek and Mara to the MCOM Pacific team. Colonel Bartell, I know that you are the right leader for Kwajalein at this time. You will nurture and strengthen the relationship within the U.S. government and the Republic of Marshall Islands and build upon the decades of success the Army and the Department of Defense has experienced here. We've been very fortunate for the past 2 years because we've had the right kind of leader in Colonel Jim Dior. Today we take the opportunity to recognize him for his outstanding contributions and leadership he has displayed over the course of his tenure, and we equally thank his spouse, Debbie, for all she did to help make Kwajalein a comfortable home for all those who live here.
Lieutenant General James Dickinson said, Dior's most important contribution bolstered the garrison's core functions on the atoll.
I just got to say, over the last 2 years, I've been enormously impressed with Jim's leadership and performance as the garrison commander here. The SMDC RSTRAT mission set that I'm responsible for is intertwined in many ways with this installation. During Jim's time here as the garrison commander, we accomplished 19 critical national security missions, including the recent FTG-11, which tested our ground-based missile defense systems and resulted in a stunning success. We supported 7 U.S. Air Force Minuteman III Glory trips, including GT-230 and GT-229 in May, and a U.S. Navy hypersonic experiment and multiple NASA experiments, including the recent one in June called the Too Windy test, which studied the ionosphere.
Under Dior's leadership, USACA supported not only the range, but also the Marshallese people on Kwajalein Atoll in measurable, lasting ways. Acting RMI President John Silk, speaking on behalf of President Hilda Heine, speaks on the impact Dior had on the RMI people.
His tenure was punctuated by 2 key events: removal of oil from the USS Prince Eugen and the Kwajalein Lagoon, which resulted in to help maintain the pristine condition of the surrounding marine environment, and contract transition, affecting more than 1,000 Marshallese employees on Kwajalein and Roy Namor.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander of United States Army Garrison Kwaj Atoll, Colonel Jeremy Bartell.
First, I'd like to thank Colonel Dior and Debbie for all your leadership over the past 2 years. I've been thoroughly impressed at everything you have accomplished as you've gotten me up to speed on the mission here on the island. Additionally, Ms. Peterson and Command Sergeant Major Gaskins in Tamika, I'd like to express my gratitude for your assistance as we made our preparations to transition from Germany to here in the Marshall Islands. Thank you. You truly made an easy move for me and my family. I personally look forward to working with the team as we continue to accomplish the mission of our nation has given us and meet the challenges that tomorrow will bring. Lieutenant General Dickinson and Dr. Altendorf, thank you for this opportunity to serve, and thank you all and each of you for being here with us today. Thank you.
We welcome Colonel Jeremy Bartell and his family to the atoll and look forward to the accomplishments we'll achieve under his command.
Ah, the convenience of flushing. It's seriously one of the most overlooked luxuries we see today. However, most people don't want to think about the crappier side of life. What happens when the water you make dirty is flushed away? Well, you're about to find out. The Kwajalein Wastewater Plant. 400,000 gallons of water pass through this building every day where it is cleaned and recirculated back to your taps. Keep in mind, this is non-potable water, the water that your toilet and outdoor taps use. So how does it work? Let's begin. The first stop, and probably the most pungent stop, is the screening and grit removal process. Basically, a metal screen filters out the larger objects from the wastewater. The main treasures found in this water? Grease. That's right, all the grease that you casually pour down the drain after cooking ends up here. The grease coagulates into the size of small rocks that are removed from the screen. As you can see here, these large objects are pretty much raked out of the water. Next is the aeration process. These small bags are filled with freeze-dried bacteria, kinda like a probiotic. The packs are thrown into 2 large aeration tanks. Don't worry, the packages are biodegradable. The bacteria breaks down the sewage. In fact, a huge part of the process is creating an environment where bacteria can work. Sewage is food for bacteria, and the organisms eat it for about 24 hours. The water is constantly kept in motion. This is to make sure all the matter within it keeps moving. It also oxygenates the water. O2 is also pumped into the concoction to help the bacteria survive. By the way, that water is brown because of the bacteria, not what you were originally thinking. So you can go back to eating your dinner now. Anyway, the bacteria is recycled over and over until the colonies become big enough to be recycled and replaced with new ones. If they weren't, the colonies would grow out of control. Off we go to the clarifiers, the next stop after the aeration tanks. The clarifier's job is to remove the sludge from the water. Most of the sludge and bacteria stays at the bottom of the still water as it is heavier. Any leftover grease that's light enough to float to the top of the water is removed by skimming. The nasty stuff is pumped out, while bacteria is recycled into the aeration tanks. Now that we've made the water easier to look at, let's make it safe, or at least less gross, to touch again. The water leaves the clarifier and enters the chlorine contact tank for disinfection. You can tell this water is clean because cleaner water appears glassier than dirty one. 80% of this water is reused, while the other 20% goes into the lagoon. Once too much sludge builds up, it is poured into dehydrating beds. Some areas around the world use such sludge as fertilizer. Why don't we? Because we're too small. So instead, we just bury it. The water is then super disinfected before it goes back to the taps. Just to give you an idea of how clean this water is, if this meter reads below 2, the water is clean. As you can see, at the time of shooting, it was at about 0.842, so that's good. It is important to remind you that this is not drinking water. However, the water is loaded with nutrients that are great for gardening. How can you help make this process easier? Be careful what goes down your drains. Avoid flushing things like grease, cotton, paper towels, and rags. Also, many items that are referred to as flushable are in fact not. Things like baby wipes, personal hygiene products, and cleaning towelettes are known to clog sewer pipes and cause trouble at pump stations. Do your part to help keep the cleaning process going. Otherwise, things will get gross.
Welcome to Learning Marshallese, or Kajin Marshall. I'm Mike Sakayo. We're going to learn some words or phrases to get you speaking better in the Marshall Islands. Today's word is chuan, and is pronounced chu-one. Chuan means one, or is the number one. You could use this word chuan as in counting. For example, chuan, ruo, chilu, etc. The word chuan, for example, can be used, say, when you go to the bakery to buy a cup of coffee. You can say in Marshallese, "Choj letok chuan cup in coffee," which means, "Please, may I have 1 cup of coffee?" Choj letok chuan cup in coffee. Please, may I have 1 cup of coffee? So, we just learned that in Marshallese, or Kajin Mayal, chuan means 1. As we use in the example, Choj letok chuan cup in coffee, meaning, please, may I have 1 cup of coffee? So now, go out and practice with your friends, or make some new friends using the word or phrase that you've learned today. Tune in next time to learn more of Kajin Mayal.
What's up, everyone? Huh! My name is Cardlord, and you see this box? This is for cardboard. Any cardboard you have goes right in here. Huh! 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 Remember, the cardboard recycling box is just right out the post office. Boy. Okay, there it is. Got it. Okay, where is it? There it is. So remember, with great power comes great recycling responsibility. Hoi! Oh, not again. Come on. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Wait. Oh, okay.